Good day and welcome to Predators Proclivity, the podcast where we look at data from the season for the NHL Nashville Predators, make comments on it. This is your host, Preston Proctor. We're here in the studio Saturday morning getting ready to watch the Vegas game, but putting together this podcast because I don't think I can get it done after the Vegas game. Not going to do it during. And tomorrow's game at 2 o'clock, and I think it's a beautiful weekend. Had thought, I'm revealing the truth here. I feel like I've been lying to you the whole time. I did try to do this podcast yesterday and totally botched it. I was rushing around all day yesterday. I kind of botched the Vegas one a little bit because when I was reading the special teams, the playoff, the penalty kill, power play stuff from my own spreadsheet, I was reading from the away game section, not the home game. That's why I think I made a comment at one point. I thought something had changed. I had to look into it. What needed to change was what column I was reading. And so, yeah, I got that all wrong. And then I went on to try to do the podcast for the Chicago, and I botched that. Not only was my voice bad, I was confused as to what I was looking at. I had not even finished my script, so I would read stuff off the script thinking it was right, it was wrong. So here I am doing it again on Saturday morning. Beautiful day outside. I'm taking care of my responsibilities, making sure, getting you guys the most meaningful information you could possibly find somewhere. I'm sure somewhere. But anyway, yeah, so here I am. Prudence went off, play golf, not feeling well. But she can't help herself. She loves to play golf. She's off to play golf with the ladies, which I don't mind. I primarily play golf to play golf with her. And I'm a decent golfer. I just, golf doesn't ring in my loins like it does for some people. And I'm a 10 handicap, and I enjoy playing golf because usually it's nice weather. I mean, I don't like to play in the rain. I don't like to play. One of the reasons why I only play with Prudence anymore is because I just don't like, if you're going to be out there for 4.5, 5 hours, well, 4 hours on our course, but 4 to 5 hours, I don't want to be stuck with somebody that's a pain in the butt. And I've played too many men's tournaments and too many men's events where I just hated being there. And I don't like it, so I don't do it anymore. And I keep thinking, and most of this was back when we lived in Washington. They're just too catty. The guy's just too catty. We started playing there. I was a 30-something handicap, and but one of the guys, I mean, if I hit, my problem was my drive. If I got my drive someplace I could hit it, I could birdie, par, anything. But my problem was that didn't happen often. And so frequently, I'm playing someplace where I've got to pitch out, I've got to do something weird, I've got to take a drop. And once I got my drive straightened out, then my handicap started coming down. And I've always had a pretty decent short game. And I've so I'm a little bit better player, and I like working. I like hitting golf balls. I just don't like being around whether I'm playing golf or not. I don't like being around people that are annoying. That's kind of why I do a podcast by myself. I don't know. I've been told by people this would be better if there was some sidekick, and I guess premium was fun. I don't think he's up for doing. The problem is the volume of podcasts I do. I mean, this is the 60th episode for this season. I do a couple a week, and that's it's a lot of work for me. And, I try to fit it into my schedule, and somebody else trying to fit it into theirs. I'm still trying to work. And I'm not retired. I'm not sure whether, but this diatribe's going on way too long. But the question is, am I retired or I just can't find work? Anyway, so here I am, and anyway, let's move on. Let's do something different. Let's just ruin this segment by doing a couple of commercials. And then we can just be done with it and move on. So Cozy Earth, as far as I can tell, prices haven't come down like I was told there would. They're still doing their buy 3, get 20% off. But if you use the promo code PredsPro, you'll get 21% off. You can just buy one item, buy that one thing that you want. I think free shipping is at $100. I think. Yeah, free domestic shipping on orders $100 and up, but it's easy to reach $100 on this site. I'm just here to tell you, puffy sheep slippers, only $98. But yeah, Preds Pro 25% off. And then if you go to quantumsquares.com, Preds Pro will get you 25% off. 100 milligrams of caffeine, 10 grams of protein, no junk. Lots of different flavors. And I like the 12. They've got an 8. Their best seller, they say, is an 8-pack variety pack. You get 2 peanut butter dark chocolate, 2 dark chocolate Himalayan salt, 2 chocolate chip cookie dough, and 2 caramel almond sea salt. But my personal favorite is the variety 12-pack. You get 2 of everything. So $27, $28, $27.95. But $28 for a variety 12-pack. They do have 2 other 12-packs. The chocolate fix, where you get 4 of 3, and the sweet and salty, you'll get 4 of the other 3. Like I said, my favorite is the variety 12-pack. I get them all. I got them all. I can eat them all. They're all here, except for the ones that Premium, I think, slipped into his backpack and walked out with. But hey, I got plenty here, and think they're great. Actually do. I think that they're very portable. They don't melt, which is an advantage, because I have to have snacks on the golf course, and it gets hot out there, and some of these bars melt, and it becomes kind of a mess trying to eat them. I do not like that. I do not have that problem with these, and they're not overly sweet, which I prefer. I do not like my foods to be overly sweet unless I'm eating dessert. And like I said, even the cookie, what was it? The cookie dough, the chocolate chip cookie dough. That's not that sweet, but it does taste like cookie dough. Anyway, yeah. Hey, what can I say? I like them. Anyway, Preds Pro, 25% off, free shipping at $35. And maybe we can talk about hockey when we come back from this brief break. Right. And so, Preds Pro, usually we talk about hockey. So let's get to it. Playoff watch. Yeah, Chicago and Colorado played yesterday. Colorado won in regulation. Chicago is the team that we're playing. They are not playing in a back-to-back situation, even though we are. That's fine. Vegas, that we're playing today, is, and they're in the same scenario. I sent out a post earlier today covering all the back-to-back information that I forgot to do during the podcast. Again, I apologize for that. Got to get better about reminding myself to do it. By winning that game, Colorado has clinched a playoff spot. The first team out is Seattle. Their max is 99, and Colorado is now at 100. So they do have a playoff spot. If I remember correctly, Dallas is playing Minnesota. Yeah, Dallas, Minnesota, playing today on Saturday. Of course, you're listening to this on Sunday. So they're playing, although I don't think Dallas can't clinch. There's too many teams that can get to 99 points, I think. And so if Dallas beats Minnesota, they'll only be at 98, but they're close to clinching as well. As far as taking a quick look. Then third place in the league is Carolina, and then Buffalo is fourth. Those teams are not close to clinching, I don't believe. The first team out is the Islanders at 83 points. They've got 13 games left, which would be another 26. That'd be 109. So, yeah, they're nobody in the East is close to clinching just yet. Carolina does have separation in their division, 10 points over second place Pittsburgh, who is 1 point over the Jackets and the Islanders. And then in the Atlantic, Buffalo has a 4-point lead over Tampa Bay, a team we're playing. Tampa Bay and Montreal, second and third in that division, we're playing both of them in the next week. So, yeah, big schedule for the Preds coming up. The wild card spots being held by two Atlantic Division teams, Detroit and Boston, over in the East, both at 84 points. And how does that work? 69? Boston has the regulation win advantage over. They both have 84 points. They played the same number of games. I think ESPN's got this wrong. I think it should be Boston over Detroit. But that's not how they have it listed. Not exactly sure why that would be the case. Yep. The NHL.com has it Boston over Detroit. Don't know why ESPN has it backwards and wrong. But that's what I thought. Boston over Detroit because of the regulation win tiebreaker. But yeah, so Colorado has clinched. Nobody in the East is going to clinch. Next team to clinch would probably be Dallas, and probably in the next couple of days. As far as first team to be eliminated, most likely to be Vancouver. Vancouver's at 50. Their max, they've got 14 games left, so their max is 78 points. The wild card spot 72. So most likely Dallas will clinch before Vancouver gets eliminated, but Vancouver should be the first team eliminated. Next up from that is Calgary at 63 and the Rangers at 64. So they're not in any danger of being eliminated just yet, but not going to make the playoffs either. So that's our playoff watch. Let's get into Sunday's opponent. Sunday, 2 p.m. in Chicago. Chicago is 8th in the Central Division with 64 points. They're 26, 31, and 12 at home, 13, 16, and 6. Before yesterday's game, they had the same record at home as on the road. Now they've got one more loss at home. So they're 8th in the Central Division. They're 1 point behind St. Louis. They played one more game than St. Louis, and St. Louis has the 5-game regulation advantage. Looking at the overall circumstances in the league, Vancouver is at the bottom, followed by Calgary, and then Chicago is 1 point ahead of Calgary. So they have played the same number of games. Calgary has the regulation win advantage. So if they were tied, Calgary would go ahead of Chicago. All of this with regards to the order in the draft is what that would all matter. New York is tied with Chicago at 64 points. They get the edge with the regulation and overtime win. They're tied in regulation wins, tied in number of games, tied in points, but Rangers have 2 more regulation and overtime wins, ROW, and that is the second tiebreaker. So Vancouver, Calgary, Chicago, New York, St. Louis, the current bottom 5. And there you go. So that is there where they're at. And not really, I'll cover the wild card stuff with the Nashville because Chicago's not really in a going to be in that spot. For Chicago, this is the second of two at home. They're 0-1, having lost 4-1 to Colorado last night. Next up for them, 4 on the road. Tuesday, they'll play the Islanders. Thursday, the Phillies. Flyers. Yep. Chicago's having a really interesting season. They thought they'd play a baseball game. Philadelphia probably still, well, what is this? It's it's almost, it is almost baseball season. I don't know when the first games are. I think the minor league teams are starting before the major league teams. I think we're going to a minor league game next week. Now I can't get anything right. The Phillies may be back home. They may not be still at spring training wherever they go. But either way, I think the Chicago Blackhawks are going to play the Philadelphia Flyers on Thursday. Follow that up by the Rangers. Yes, they get to play both New York teams, not in order, but Thursday, Friday, Flyers and Rangers. So a back-to-back situation for Chicago. And then they'll finish off that road trip by playing the Devils on Sunday. So, a little bit of the Northeast for Chicago. As far as the series goes, this is the last of 4 versus these two teams. Chicago is 1-2 in the series so far, having lost at the end of November, 3-4 in Chicago, and then blanking Nashville in Nashville, January 10th, 3-0, and then losing at the end of February, 2-4 in Nashville. So this is the last of 2. Well, it's the last of 4, and 2 of each location. Last year, Chicago only won 1 of the 4. They were 1-3, having won the 3rd game of the series in Chicago, 6-2. 6-2. The 2 of the other games went to extra time. One was a shootout, and both of the Nashville games were extra time. The first being a shootout in Nashville, and the other being overtime. Both of those 3-2. In fact, all of Nashville's wins last year were 3-2. Wow. So 2 goals last year was the losing score in all 4 games. Not the case this year. Mixing it up. Personnel changes. One really interesting one. But 2 guys got injured as of yesterday, so not sure whether they'll be back. Not expected to be back for tomorrow's game. And then they had a couple of people injured anyway. But number 46 defenseman Louis Crevier, not sure how you say that, not expected back till the 24th. Number 26 left wing Andrew Mangiapane. Out, not expected back till the 26th. He does have a shooting percentage that we were talking about, and but he's out. He was involved in a trade, so he is new to the Blackhawks. Number 11, center Oliver Moore, also out, not expected back till the end of March. And then 2 people that are out for the season. Number 94, defenseman Ryan Ellis, though they got in a trade with San Jose. I think he was injured when he came over, so he's been traded, but probably hasn't moved. And then number 6 defenseman Shea Weber, injured, not expected back this season. Leading up to the last guy I noticed, number 12 center Sasha Boisvert or Bosvert. I'm not sure how that's pronounced. He's day-to-day, expected back on the 24th, had been the 20th, but now it's changed. Paperwork not completed is the issue. He was the first-round 2024 draft pick by Chicago, so the 18th overall pick in the draft 2 years ago. He's 19, played for Boston University this year and the University of North Dakota last year, and now he's been signed by Chicago, and I guess he's being expected to play, but he won't be in the game with Nashville. It does not look like. Paperwork not completed, and probably not going to. I don't know if it's paper. Well, I guess if he's playing in Boston, it's not visa issues. It probably NHL paperwork, but not exactly sure. But so that's exciting for him. Sometime that paperwork will get completed. I guess if you have a recruit, you can bring them up. But I guess rosters aren't set yet. I'm not exactly sure when the deadline is for the roster being set. But at some point, they'll be able to call up more people for the playoffs, and then the roster will be set. So just keeping along this line. On yesterday, they also recalled number 25 center Dominic Toninato from the Rockford Ice Hogs, probably because Mangiapane got injured. So they got Toninato, Dominic Toninato to replace Andrew Mangiapane. Leading up to the trade deadline, Chicago was involved in 2 trades. On the 2nd, March 2nd, they got a second-round 2028 draft pick from Edmonton for defenseman Connor Murphy. On the 4th, they got forward Andrew Mangiapane and a conditional first-round 2027 for forward Jason Dixon and forward Colton Dock from Edmonton. The conditional pick, I think I might have mentioned this when we played Edmonton last. The determination there is that the condition of the 2027 is that it's top 12 protected. It's top 12 protected, so if Edmonton's pick is in the top 12 in 2027, they will retain it, and Chicago will get to 2028. If it's 13 and up, then Chicago gets it, and Edmonton relinquishes. I'm not sure if that's before the lottery or not. You'd think that would be after the lottery, where people get to move up 10 spots. So if Edmonton got picked and it was outside the top 12, it could be back inside the top 12 after the lottery. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out. Then on the 6th, they did 2 trades. They got future considerations from forward Nick Foligno, who went to Minnesota. And then also they got forward Derek Poyot from the Rangers for forward Aiden Thompson. And so that is the Chicago update. For the Preds are 5th in the Central, 71 points, 31-28-9. On the road, 13-15-6. They are 7 points behind Utah, who has played 2 more games, and Utah also has the 5-game regulation win advantage. Utah did lose last night, so those 2 games, Utah may not. I mean, I always felt like Utah was in a good position. Utah is 12 points behind Minnesota and 7 points ahead of the Preds. But if the Preds can go on a run, they might be able to overtake Utah. I kind of thought that was in place, but Utah losing yesterday, kind of makes it seem like they might be more vulnerable than thinking. Utah does have a 6-point lead over the wildcard 2 spot. Utah is in the wildcard 1 spot. 6-point lead over the Kings, but the Kings have played 2 less games. So Utah does have a 10-point regulation win advantage over the Kings, but who doesn't? Oh, who doesn't is Vancouver. Everybody else has more than 18 regulation wins. So the Kings would lose the first tiebreaker with everybody but Vancouver. Then behind the Kings are the Kraken. The Kraken and the Preds tied at 71 points. They both played 68 games, but the Kraken have the 2-game regulation win advantage, so they get the nod in the standings above Seattle. And then behind Nashville in the wild card hunt are the Sharks, 1 point behind. They played 1 less game than the Preds. The Preds do have a 3-game regulation win advantage over the Sharks. So there you go. That is the wild card hunt for this game for the Preds. This game in Chicago is the only game in this road trip. Then they've got 3 at home. Tuesday, San Jose. Thursday, the Devils. Saturday, Montreal. And that Montreal game will be part of a back-to-back. Sunday, they'll travel to Tampa Bay to play the Lightning as opposed to playing the Devil Rays. Yes. Personnel issues. Saros is still out. Saros and Willsby listed at the 21st, so they might be back. Saros is projected to be a scratch for today's game. and it's part of a back-to-back, which does get us into talking about goaltenders. Willsby might be back. I guess still we'll see, wait and see. I guess we'll know if either of them show up and play in the game today against Vegas. On the 19th, the Preds did call up number 32 goaltender Matthew Murray, so he was backing up Annunen and should be backing up Annunen today in Vegas. Not sure if Saros has returned, not sure if Murray or Annunen will play on Sunday. Probably Murray. That would just be my guess, but I have to see how that plays out. I think I mentioned in the yesterday's podcast with the Vegas game for today's Vegas game that Evan Batty backed up Magnus Krona in the Milwaukee loss to Manitoba. And when I was talking to Prudence about this, it was like, oh yeah, of course. They were playing the Manitoba Moose at Manitoba. And so they borrowed a guy from one of the local teams to be the backup, the Southeastern Manitoba Hockey League. That's where they got Evan Batty. The whole question was whether Batty got a jersey. What was his number? Did he get to keep the jersey? He would have had to have had a jersey. I don't know if they're required to have their name on it or not, but why not? They're giving him a jersey, putting a number on it, and he may as well keep it, right? I don't know. One of those things, one of these days, I hope to be able to get answers to. But today, I only have the questions. The other question I have is Milwaukee is also playing today. I've not seen what they're going to do for their backup goaltender, but they play the Grand Rapids Griffins, who I didn't check on this, but before they were like the best team by far. They were like the Colorado of the AHL. This year, I think they had like 40 wins and 9 losses at one point. It was sick how much of a lead they had over second place in the league. Just in the league, they were, and so that's who Milwaukee is playing today. I'm sure Krona will be in goal because they've had 2 days off. They played or 1 day off. But I'm not sure who's going to back him up. And I was looking around trying to see if I could find that information, and I couldn't. And I thought, well, this should be somebody somewhere has got to know. But they're playing at home. They are playing at home. I don't think if they didn't call up, it was pretty sudden for Saros to go down, and they were in Manitoba, so it would have been hard to get somebody from Atlanta to Manitoba, I think, on that short of notice. Not sure if Heiler or Semptim-Helter will go to Milwaukee, but Atlanta is in the middle of 3 games they played. They play Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So they're going to need another goaltender. And they borrowed a guy before when Murray got called up during the pause to practice with the Preds because Milwaukee called up Semptim-Helter and Atlanta got another goaltender. They borrowed a goaltender who was on loan to another team, I think the Swamp Rabbits, the Greenville Swamp Rabbits. The goaltender was on loan from some other team. All this crazy stuff. One day, I hope to be able to make sense of all this. I think that is just so fun. For me, it's just a track. Seeing all this stuff happen, I think is just so fun. But anyway, but I don't know. Again, another question. And with that question, let's take a quick break and we'll come back and talk about statistics. All right. So the Preds are on the road. Let's see if we can get the right stats. The Preds on the road, first goal is what we're talking about. When the Preds get it, they're 5-2-3. Which is not saying much. When they don't get it, 8-13-3. So maybe kind of like a 2-1 advantage for the other team, but not really an advantage for the Preds. The Preds are 13-15-6. So technically they've lost 21 games and won 13. Looking at their record in the periods, their first period is hands down their worst period. They're not scoring goals. They're losing the period. They're digging a hole. Like I said, the Preds this season, dig a hole, see if we can get out of it. Holy cow. Speaking of digging a hole, I did go back and I watched the game with the Kraken the other night, and the announcers were surprised that it wasn't a 5-minute boarding. They were surprised there wasn't a fight. I mean, they were like, they saw that the other guy was throwing punches. He did drop his gloves. Marchessault dropped one. He skated over there and he did the quick hand movement that usually allows the gloves to slide off, but only one did. He must be left-handed because that was the only hand he had to throw punches with. Eventually, the other glove came off. No idea. No clue. We watched it. They showed the replay. I watched it live in the stadium and watched the replay. No frickin' clue why the call was what the call was. But anyway, that being said, the Preds are 6-16-12 in the first period on the road, which is bad. If they get the first goal, they have not lost the first period. They're 4-0-6. If they do get the first goal, they're 2-16-6. If they do not get the first goal, 2-16-6, which is just horrible. We'll get to goal scoring. The second period is better. They're 11-12-11. If they got the first goal, they are 4-5-1 in the second period. If they did not, 7-7-10. So that's the 7-7-10 is a reasonable result given 2-16-6 in the first, but it's still hard to see you're going to dig yourself or get a tall enough ladder with that 2-16-6 hole. The third period, 11-10-13. Now, if they got the first goal, they're 3-3-4 in the third. If they did not, 8-7-9. So that's good record there for the third period. But would have been nice not to get to the point where you're having to dig out of that hole. As far as correlating the result of the period to the result of the game, first period, 6 times they've won it, they're 3-3. 16 times they've lost it, they're 3-13 in those games, and 12 times they've tied it to be 7-5. So tying the first period has the only winning record there. The second period, 11 times they have won the second period, they're 7-4. 12 times they have lost it, they're 2-10. And 11 times they have tied it, and they're 4-7. So definitely the scenario we were going to pull for there is to win the second period. And in the third period, also 11 wins and also 7-4. 10 losses, 0-10, and then 13 ties, 6-7. So there are wins in the tie. We think we need to tie the first and win the second to get to that point. So let's look at that combination. Tie the first and win the second has happened 7 times, and they're 4-1-2 in those scenarios. Winning the second period has winning records in all 3 situations. Losing the second period has a winning record if they won the first, 2-1-2. If they do anything else, if they tie the first and lose the second, they've lost all of those games, both of them. Lose the first, lose the second, they've lost all 5 of those. So that's not very good. They have not won the first and tied the second. That's interesting. That has not happened all season. The thing that has happened the most this season, 8 times, is to lose the first, tie the second, and they are a 1-5-2 in that scenario. Tying the second, the only good scenario there is to tie the first. So I think tying. I guess either winning or tying the first has good records. The problem with tying the first is losing the second. Otherwise, don't lose a period. Losing a period can be trouble. If they lose the first but come back and win the second, they have hope. But any other result doesn't look very good. So let's take a look at that, the combinatorics between the second and the third. And winning the third has, winning the third, if they lost the second, is not a good result. That's happened 3 times. They're 1-2. Otherwise, they've won. They have a winning record for winning the third. Losing the third has all bad results, so let's skip that. And then if they tie the third, the only good result is having won the second. So I think we definitely want to win the second. And then, if we win the second, then we can win or tie the third. Winning the second and losing the third, also 0-2-2, also bad. 4 games, 0-2-2. Like I said, losing the third has no wins. No wins. None. Zip, zero, nada. 10 times they've lost the third. And no wins. 3 overtime losses, but no wins. So can't lose the third period. So that takes us to goal scoring. And with goal scoring, we talk about the winning goal. Winning goal, evenly distributed between the third and the second, really 11 times in the third, 10 times in the second. That's out of 34 games. So that right there is 21 of them. And then 7 times in overtime. So primarily second, third, and overtime. Preds winning, they've got twice as many winning goals in the third period as any other period, but that's 6. So that's 46% of the winning goals. And it should be. I could have the percentage of regulation wins too. That would be kind of interesting, I think. With the opponents primarily scoring the winning goal in the second period, that's 7, 5 each in third and overtime. So out of 34 games, that's 17 of them. So half the games right there. And then when the road team wins, which has happened 29 times this season in Preds games, evenly spread between the second and third period, 10 each. So 29 games and 20 of them winning goal in the second or third. Next highest is overtime with 5. Home team winning second and third, really 13 in the third, 11 in the second. So 39 wins for the home team, and 24 of them come in the second or third period, winning goals, that is. So what about goal scoring? Well, Preds, it took, the Preds had 1 goal in the first game on road teams. What was this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The first 6 games, they didn't get a goal on the road at all. And then in the 7th road game, they got a goal, and the 8th they did not. That was one of the games in Sweden. And then they got one in Detroit, and so then they had 3 more games where they did not score in the first goal. So we're looking at 12 games. The first 12 games, first 12 road games, they had scored 2 goals in the first 12 games, the first 12 road games, and the first 12, and they played how many road games? They played 34. So the first third of the season on the road, they have 2 goals. So not scoring very minutes, but they've got 24 now. So in 12 and 34, so 22. So in the next 22, they've been averaging a goal a game. In the first period, they've got 24 goals. The opposition has 43. And the opposition has more goals in the first period in the games in which the Preds win. The Preds have been outscored 15-16 in games that they win. Now they've won 13 games, right? So there's that. They've been outscored 3-1 in games in which they lose, 9-27. In the second period, moving to the second period, both teams have scored 29. Preds scored 10 more, 17-7 in games in which they win, and the opposition scoring 22 in games in which they win. Preds getting 12 in games in the second, and 12 goals in the second period in games in which they lose. Again, tied in the third period at 40. The opposition's, the highest goals they get is in the first period. They got 43 in the first. The Preds' highest is the third, so they're getting 40, and they get 20 goals each in games in which they win and the games in which they lose. The opposition is getting 4 times more goals in the third period in the games in which they win, getting 8 in the games that they lose, and 32 in the games in which they win. So definitely telling there. Moving to look at the scenarios coming into the second period, third period, winning, lose, and tying. Looking at the second period, the most frequent thing to happen is to come into the second period losing. That's happened 16 times. Again, it's not terribly surprising. 16 out of 34, so just under half the games they've come into the second period losing. And those 16 games, they've been outscored 12-15. 12-15, and their record is 3-11-2. 3-11-2 in those 16 games. 2-11 in regulation and 1-2 in extra time. The next frequent thing to happen coming into the second period is to be tied 12 times. They've come in tied, and they've outscored their opponents 16-7. 16-7 in those 12 games. That's awesome. Definitely tying the first period is looking like the secret sauce for the Preds. In those games, they are 7-3-2, winning 6-3 in regulation and winning 1-2 in extra time. Coming into the second period winning has only happened 6 times, and the Preds have been outscored 7-1. In 6 games in which they won the first period, they've scored 1 goal in the second period. Their result, 3-1-2 in those 6 games. So 2-1 in regulation and 1-2 in extra time. That's funny. All the extra time records are 1-2 in these scenarios. Kind of interesting. Definitely tied looks good. When the Preds come in tied, they score more. It's great. Definitely pulling tie the first period. Rather they win, but it doesn't look like they do very well when they win it. But I guess the question is, how long ago has it been that they won the first period on the road? And let me just take a quick look here. They did win it against Dallas on the 28th. So that was just, what game was that? That was the 59th. That was the end of February. The end of February on the road, they won the first period 2-0 and then wound up losing in overtime. Dallas came back and got 1 in the second and 1 in the third and then 1 in overtime. That had to be a heartbreaker. But yeah, that was the last time on the road that they won the first period. So, all right. Anyway, let's move on. This not very uplifting talk. I feel like every time I listen to iHeartRadio and their advertisements, everything is about death and crime. And listen to this podcast about crime. Here's another podcast. This person died. Talking about the Preds in the first period kind of reminds me of a crime scene. Anyhow, so let's talk about the third period. Maybe it'll be better. Let's talk about the Preds in the third period. So 18 times they have come into the third period losing. That is the most. 18 out of 34. And in those games, they've been outscored 24-25. Now, the opposition does have 6 empty net goals. The Preds have 1. And so they've been outscored 23-19. So they actually have a goal scoring advantage taking out the empty nets. Their record is 2-14-2, though. So that is awful. 2-14-2 in those 18 games. So definitely don't like coming into the third period losing. The next frequent thing for the third period is to come into the third period winning. That's right. We came into the second period winning 6 times, but we come into the third period winning 11 times. That would be kind of interesting to see the results results from second to third. Just curious, because if the Preds come into the third period winning 11 times, and they're only scoring one goal in the 6 games in which they in which they came into the second period winning, I'm guessing they probably weren't winning the first period coming into the third period winning. But I'm kind of curious now how that translates. And of course, I guess I'll get on that. I have my production staff. Hey, there you go. This is your spreadsheet. So you and I will talk about this later. Okay, so coming into the third period, winning 11 times, the Preds have been outscored 11-12 in those scenarios, and the Preds have 5 empty net goals. So with the goaltender in the net, they have been outscored 12-6. Fortunately, their record is 7-1-3, 7-1 in regular time, and 0-3 in extra time. So yeah, coming into the third period, winning and going to extra time is not good for the Preds. The other team seems to get enough momentum and then takes the victory, snatches the victory. And so finally, the last circumstance, only 3 times have they come into the third period tied. I'm sorry, 5 times. 5 times looking at goal scoring. So they come into the third period tied 5 times, which is the least of all 6 of these scenarios. And in those 5 games, they have outscored their opponents 5-3, and they are 4-0-1 in those 5 games. 4-0-1, 2-0 in regulation, 2-1 in extra time, and that is the only scenario where going to extra time has a winning record. So coming into the third period tied. Going to extra time, the Preds are 2-1. In the other scenarios, they're 1-2, except for coming into the third period winning, they're 0-3. So that's maybe slightly disturbing, unfortunate. Yeah, don't know. All right. Anyway, let's move on. Yeah, so we've talked about the winning goal and goal scoring. So that takes us to talking about the matchup. Right. So matchup. The Chicago is on the road. This is one of the other things I messed up. I kept reading the wrong numbers yesterday, so I was happy to come back in here and redo this. That was just I would not have been happy if I had to release that because I didn't have any other option. But here we go. So Chicago's on the road. Chicago is at home. Chicago is at home. They have played 35 games now. They did play Friday night at home. It had been 34, which was exactly the same as the Preds. But 35 now. 7 teams have played more, 4 have played the same, and 20 have played less. And Chicago only got one goal Friday night. And I don't know which period that was, but let's just go through it. So they are the 29th ranked team for out of home teams in scoring, 2.6 goals a game. League average 3.12, so they're down like 0.5, half a goal. They're 28th in the first, 0.69, league average 0.89. And then 26th in the second, 0.85, league average 1.08. That's right, wrong team. And then they drop to 32nd, 0.77, league average 1.07. So about 0.3, so a third of a goal less in the third. So they are below average, just slightly in the second, but more below average in the first and third. Raw numbers, they've scored 24 in the first, 37 in the second, and 27 in the third. Moving to scored and against, they are 16th in the league, which is respectable. About in the middle, giving up 3.03 goals a game. The league average is 3.01. 9th in the first, 0.94, league average 0.86. 13th in the second, giving up 1, which is the league average. And then 20th in the third, giving up 1, again, league average 1.07. Raw numbers, 33 in the first, 35 in the second, 35 in the third. So, not total. They've given up 106 goals to 91. The 106. I mean, just 12th in the league, but they played more games than 20 other teams. So it's not. They're just not scoring goals, is what it looks like. I mean, they're close to league average. League average as far as goals per game, and they're just not scoring it. So they've given up 15 goals more than they've scored. The Preds. What about the Preds? Oh, well, let's see. The Preds are a road team. So the Preds have played 22 games, 34 games on the road, 12 have played more, 11 have played the same, and 8 have played less. They are the 22nd ranked team in goal scoring for road teams, 2.79 goals for. League average is 3.01. 25th in the first, 0.71. League average 0.86. 26th in the second. Even though they score more goals in the second, they still drop in the rankings, 0.85 with a league average of 1. And then in the third, they are the 7th highest scoring team per game for road teams, 1.18 to a league average of 1.07. And just to compare, the Chicago is 20th in the league in giving up goals in the third. So the first is when they like to give them up mostly, and the Preds aren't good at scoring in the first. Hopefully, that'll start to change that. As far as goals against, the Preds are 9th in the league in giving up goals for road teams, giving up 3.44 goals a game, league average 3.13, so about a third of a goal more. They are the top team in the league giving up goals on the road, 1.26 goals against, league average 0.89, so there's your third of a goal right there. The second period, they clamped down, only 0.85 goals against with the league average 1.08. And then 11th in the third, 1.18, league average 1.08. So they're above average in the first and third and really tough in the second. Looking back at Chicago, Chicago's best period does look like it is the second. And the Preds are pretty good in the second. They're terrible in the third. But and not so good in the first. So, kind of weakness against weakness in the first and third, and strength on strength as far as the Preds defense and the Chicago's offense. Going the other way, kind of strength on strength, I guess. Weakness on weakness in the first two periods and strength on strength in the third. So, it should be an interesting game. Hopefully the Preds pull through on this one. Let's take a quick look at the special teams. Chicago has the 6th best penalty kill for home teams. No, that's for road teams. Let's go down here. The Preds are on the road. Wow, they have the top. So they've got the 6th best penalty kill when they're on the road. Chicago has the top penalty kill when they're at home. So they're not losing by giving up power play goals. That's for sure. So their percentage is 84.8%. They've given up 17 goals on 112 opportunities. They have scored 2 shorthanded goals, which takes their net rank, I guess, takes it down to second. Time shorthanded per games played, they are second in the league. So they on the penalty kill a lot, and but it's good. Their only goals against is 26th in the league. So second in opportunities and 26th on being scored on. So that's pretty good. The Preds penalty kill, 23rd in the league, 77.8%, 22 goals against on 99 opportunities. So they've given up 5 more goals on 13 less opportunities. They've scored 2 shorthanded goals as well. Time shorthanded per games played, 20th. So not one of the lesser penalized teams, I guess. And goals against per games played, 14th. So that number goes in the wrong direction. Let's see how the power play goes and we'll see how that works out. Chicago's power play at home is 26th in the league. Not very good. 16.8%, 18 goals on 107 opportunities. So they've given up, or they've scored one more goal on 5 less opportunities than they've given up. They've given up 2 shorthanded goals as well. As far as times on the power play per games played, 15th. So not getting about league average, I guess, as far as penalties. Goals for per games played, 23rd. So 15th in opportunities, 23rd in goals. So there could be probably a good matchup between their power play and the Preds penalty kill. Both below league average. So see how that plays out. As far as the Preds power play on the road, they are 12th in the league, 21.9%, 21 goals on 96 opportunities. So their power play has scored 3 more goals on 11 less opportunities than Chicago. They have given up 1 shorthanded goal, which takes them up to being ranked 9th in the league. Net power plays per games play is 16th. So yeah, right about league average, just like Chicago. And then goals for games played, 10th. So 16th in opportunities and 10th in goals for. So that definitely a good power play there for the Preds to match up against the good penalty kill for Chicago. So there you go, strength on strength. And looking at the special teams, and we know we're on the road. So the Preds, their power play in the first period is their best, 10 goals on 29 opportunities. And in the second, it is their worst. They have the most opportunities in the second, 46, but only 5 goals for 11%. And then it goes back up to 19. Let's see, overall, the Preds, their power play is 21%, but in the third period, 19. So in the second and third, definitely not up to par. But in the third period, 5 goals on 26 opportunities. So they've had 3 more opportunities in the first and the third and have twice the number of goals. As far as the penalty kill, 26% of the time, the opponents are getting a goal in the first period, which is the highest percentage, 10 goals on 38 opportunities. They get almost the same number of opportunities in the second, 34, but they've scored 7 goals, so that takes them down to 21%, and just slightly less opportunities in the third with 31, but less goals with 5. So that takes them down to 16% in the third. Overall, been about the same number of opportunities, 101 to 103, and the opposition has 2 more goals than the Preds on 2 more opportunities. Overall, that for the Preds, that it's nice to see them get the goals in the first period on the power play. Their second period power play is not very good, but hey, they got a goal against Seattle in the second period, but that was at home, and we're not talking about home. But we did talk about special teams, which means we are up to players to watch. And we start out, there's 2 guys. Let's just make this short. 2 guys to worry about with Chicago 98, center Connor Bedard. He's first in goals, assists, points, time on ice, and shots. Yes, he's a center, and he leads the team in time on ice. He's got 16 goals, 12 assists, 28 points. Bertuzzi, number 59, left wing Tyler Bertuzzi, second in goals with 10, second in points with 18, second in shots with 67. Number 28, left wing Andrew Burakovsky is tied with the assist lead with 12. And then Vlasic, defenseman, number 72, Alex Vlasic, does lead the defenseman in time on ice with 20-42. And 2 guys with decent shooting percentage. Neither of them have played very much. First off, 26 left wing Andrew Mangiapane, 1 goal on 1 shot. He's only played in 3 games at home since the trade, but now injured. and didn't play against Colorado last night. And then we get number 24 center Sam Lafferty, 1 goal on 4 shots, or 25% shooting percentage. Lafferty has played 14 games at home, 23 games total this season. It didn't look like he was playing in the AHL. I think he just must be a guy that they keep around to play when they need him. So not sure if he's actually going to be playing or not, but there you go. So pretty much the two guys, 98 and 59, Bedard and Pertuzzi, and my guess is they play on the same line. For Nashville, you got the parade of nines. Number 91 center Steven Stamkos leads the team with 12 goals. He's second in points with 25. Then you get how to do this. Let's go to number 9 left wing Philip Forsberg, second on the team in goals with 11, first in shots with 94. Then leading the team in assists, number 77 right wing Luke Evangelista with 20. Next up is number 90, Mr. Stat, center Ryan O'Reilly, fourth in goals with 10. Second in assists with 18, so he's first on the team in points with 28, and he's the forward on the ice. He's third on the team, 20.09. Leading the team in ice time is number 59 defenseman Roman Josi, 25-17, and he's second in shots with 81. The Preds have 4 players with shooting percentages over 20, most of them players that just got called back up, starting off with number 59 defenseman Ryan Ufko, 1 goal on 3 shots. He got a goal in the Seattle game. And he's at 33.3% on the road. Next up is number 49 left wing Reed Schaefer, who has played a significant number of games with the Preds, 3 goals on 13 shots. Second on the team, 23.1%. Third on the team is a guy who's played with them all season. He's tied at second in goals with 11, number 71 right wing Matthew Wood, 48 shots, 11 goals, 22.9% shooting percentage. Then we're rounding out these guys with number 68 left wing Zachary Lurer, 1 goal, 5 shots, 20%. And so that's your Preds. And so we're now to momentum. Chicago and momentum. They started out the year, they lost their first 3. And then they started winning a bunch and losing some, and then they went on a long losing streak and then kind of alternated and went on a long losing streak and alternated and pulled out a few wins and then kind of righted the ship and had a 5-game losing streak, 3-game losing streak, 3-game losing streak. They won 2. They won back-to-back games in overtime versus Utah. They had to play them Monday. Let's see, at the back end of a back-to-back with Dallas. They had to play at Dallas on Sunday, and then Monday they played home versus Utah, 1 in overtime, played on Thursday at Utah, 1 in overtime. That was the last time they won 2 in a row, but that was just about a week or so ago. Then they lost 2, won 1, lost to Colorado. So what was my notes here? My notes is that they've had 5 extra time games in the last 9. They're all in overtime, so 5 overtime games in the last 9, winning 2 of them. And the last 10, they're 4-3-3. So that was just something that seemed interesting. They're 13-16-6 at home, and which is almost the same same record that Nashville has on the road. Against the Central, Chicago is in the Central. Against the Central, they are 11-7-5. And at home, they're 5-3-2. They've beaten Utah twice. They've beaten Dallas, St. Louis, and Winnipeg at home. They've lost to Colorado twice and lost to Nashville, and then overtime losses to Minnesota twice. On the road, they've beaten St. Louis, Dallas, Utah twice, and Minnesota. So, like I said, they just beat Utah in back-to-back, or not back-to-back games, but consecutive games, like about a week ago, the 12th and 14th, and the 9th and 12th. and then they played Minnesota in consecutive games before playing Colorado. So that was kind of a mean stretch. They played Vegas. Wow, let's back up even further. They played Dallas, Utah twice, Vegas twice against Minnesota, and Colorado. Yikes. So, the four best teams in the Central Division, they just played in 6 of their last 7 games, and the other game was against one of the teams leading. Well, I guess they are leading the Pacific Division. So their last 7 games was no stretch, and they won 3 of them. So I think you got to and went to overtime with Dallas, and that loss overtime with Minnesota. So I think you kind of have to. 2 of the losses of regulation, Colorado and Vegas. So those 4-1, 4-0. But they beat Minnesota 2-1. They won 3-2 against Utah, both games overtime. Lost 4-3 in overtime. Dallas. I'd say they lost 4-3 in overtime to Minnesota. I mean, look at their the last 3 games. They played Colorado and Minnesota, and they won one of them. Pushed Minnesota to overtime, and they got beaten by Colorado. But I'd say Chicago's still dangerous. I think you still have to look out, have to worry about them. I mean, because what their losses, overtime loss to Winnipeg, lost in regulation to Vancouver, overtime loss to Dallas, and all those other ones. They beat Utah again just before that. So in March, they've beaten Utah 3 times, 4-0 at the beginning of March. Lost to Colorado after losing to Nashville, after losing to Columbus, beat San Jose. So I'd say, looking at them past trade deadline, which was the 6th, which is the 7-game run, which they have played all of these top teams, they're not doing so bad. Okay, the record's not great, but I say that this is trouble. This is definitely trouble for the Preds. They got to bear down and make sure that they do not look past Chicago, because they could definitely be in trouble. And we'll talk a little bit about that, about trouble, the Preds in trouble, coming up. So let's talk about Nashville. Their momentum, they're 13, 15, and 6 on the road. They do have a 2-game winning streak, and coming into the game with Vegas. So hopefully they beat Vegas. 3-game winning streak is the longest they've had all season. So if they beat Vegas and they go into Chicago and beat Chicago, it'll be the longest winning streak of the year. They got to win these games, though. The Preds are 4-4-2 in their last 10. Like I said, they're playing Vegas in about half an hour. Their last road trip, they were 2-2-1. They will be playing Chicago on the back end of a back-to-back. We'll talk about that here in a second. Let me pull this up. And they are 10-9-4 versus the Central. On the road, they are 6-3-2 against the Central Division. 6-3-2. 4-3 in regulation, 1-2 in overtime, and 1-0 in a shootout. On the road, they have, let's see, who have they played? They lost to Winnipeg. They beat Utah. They split with St. Louis. They split with Colorado, and they're 1-0 against Chicago. So, pretty good record. That was regulation. And overtime, they lost to Dallas, split with Minnesota, and then beat Winnipeg. So against Central Division teams, the Preds have played pretty well. Unfortunately, where they have not played very well is in the back-to-back situation. They are 8-12 overall in back-to-back situations. On the front at home, they're only 2-4, which is what they are with Vegas. On the back end, being away, they have not won this season. They are 0-6. 0-6 on the back end when the back end is a road game. And the thing that even got worse, I put this in the post that I put following up with the Vegas game, is in the back-to-backs where they've been at home and then away. They have 3 of them, and they're 0-6 in all of those. 3 of those losses were overtime losses. Saros was in goal in all 3 of those in the home game. So it's hard to say. I guess we'll find out. Might know already if the game's in half an hour what the lineup is going to be for today's game, Vegas. But I don't know what they're going to do with tomorrow. It says the starter currently unknown. Well, gosh, the game's in half an hour. I bet the starter's known. But anyway, yeah, so as far as the back-to-back situation for this weekend, it doesn't look promising. Like I said, at home on the front end, which is the Vegas game, they're 2-4. Away on the back end, they're 0-6. So not good. But, got to turn that 0 into a 1. So hopefully against Chicago, we'll do that and even things up with Vegas. So anyway, so that's kind of momentum. I think Chicago is still a very dangerous team. And Nashville, the problem that the Preds have had all season is focus. They need to make sure they focus with Vegas, but they've got extra focus with Chicago, and they cannot take them for granted, or it will be ugly. It will be ugly. Oh, anyway, yeah, good news all around. Anyway, yeah, and let's just wrap this one up. Thanks for listening. I'm Preston Proctor, and you've been listening to Predators Proclivity.